Welcome, listeners, to Red Hunt, where I, Red, embark on a journey into the captivating world of relationship tales shared on Reddit. Get ready to dive deep into the highs, lows, and unexpected twists of love that will leave you craving more. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button and let's begin our hunt together. My best friend is being oddly negative about my boyfriend, but won't explain why. I am a 28-year-old female, but I couldn't include that information in the title without causing confusion. Lol. I have been best friends with someone since high school, and we attended the same university. We are still very close and hang out together frequently, either just the two of us or with other friends we share. I have known my current boyfriend for over 2 years, but we have only been dating for a couple of months. Throughout most of those 2 years, I secretly had feelings for him, and my best friend was aware of this. However, she had never met him until we started dating. In the past, my best friend has never made negative comments about any of my previous boyfriends. She can be somewhat blunt, though. For example, she once told me privately that one guy was boring to talk to, and another time she said the guy I was seeing was acting fake. However, she usually doesn't elaborate or bring up these opinions repeatedly. In the past, it has not been an issue for the guys I've dated to join us when my best friend and I hang out, especially when we are with other friends. However, the first time I introduced my boyfriend to my best friend, she pulled me aside and told me that there was something wrong with him. Initially, I thought she was joking because we were all a bit buzzed, and he had done something funny on purpose. However, she clarified that she was serious but couldn't explain why she felt that way. During their next meeting, in front of 2 of our other friends, my best friend called my boyfriend over and asked him to explain why he was a good match for me. He did a decent job of listing our shared interests, including an appreciation for nerdy stuff. However, my friend accused him of calling me a nerd, which he hadn't done. I defended him, explaining that I call myself a nerd all the time. But my friend insisted that she didn't like the implication that I was a nerd. The following time we were making plans with other people, she specifically asked me not to bring my boyfriend. When I asked why, she said she just wanted me to hang out with her without him. I questioned her about her problem with him, wondering if she found him dangerous or if he had done something to upset her. However, she couldn't explain it, only saying that he didn't fit in with our social group. My boyfriend doesn't fit into any particular category or stereotype. He comes from a wealthy family but doesn't talk about it, and his fashion choices can be unconventional. Additionally, he is a genuine and kind person, not loud or arrogant. He has a subtle sense of humor that my friend refuses to laugh at. While everyone else finds him hilarious, my friend appears irritated by it. I love my boyfriend and don't see what my friend sees. I need advice on how to get her to explain herself or resolve the situation. I also don't know how to gently inform my boyfriend about her negativity, as it may hurt him. My friend is usually the one who organizes our group events since she is a housewife and enjoys planning, which makes it challenging for me to initiate group plans without her involvement, unless I want to send a message. To summarize, my friend seems annoyed with my new boyfriend, who has always been polite and decent towards her. Despite asking her multiple times, the only explanation she gives is that he doesn't fit in with our social group. I need guidance on how to address this issue, as I really like my boyfriend and don't plan on leaving him unless he reveals a hidden negative side. I also don't want to exclude him from our social events because he will notice when others post pictures on social media that include their partners. What should I say to my friend and my boyfriend in this situation? It seems like your best friend has some reservations about your new boyfriend that she hasn't been able to articulate clearly. While it's important to listen to her concerns, it's also important to evaluate the validity of her criticisms. Her vague statements about him not fitting in or there being something wrong with him can leave you confused and uncertain about the situation. One possible approach would be to have an open and honest conversation with your best friend. Let her know that her comments about your boyfriend have been bothering you and that you would like to understand her concerns better. Encourage her to be specific about what bothers her and how she perceives him not fitting into your social group. This might help you understand if there are any genuine issues or if her concerns stem from personal biases or misunderstandings. Remember, your friend's opinions can be valuable, but ultimately the decision about your relationship and who you spend your time with lies with you. Trust your instincts and prioritize your own happiness. Am I the antagonist for refusing to talk with someone after they mistreated me? Throwaway account for privacy reasons. For context, I, 20-year-old female, was adopted on the same night I was born, but it doesn't seem to bother anyone in the family on both sides and everybody treated as their own with one exception, which is my cousin Lucy, 41-year-old female. It wasn't always like that though. It all started almost 2 years ago when Lucy and I disagreed over a topic on the family's group. She started to try to make points to try to make me look wrong in the group, which led to a huge discussion between her and other family members. I had already silenced the group chat. When she saw family members defending me, she started to tell them they'll go to hell, and everyone just stopped trying to talk to her because she won't admit any different opinions. Some days after this, my mother came to talk to me about my adoption. I knew right away that someone had told her to talk to me about this. Eventually, my intuition proved to be right, and it was Lucy. Also, I found out she was one of the people who helped to handle some of adoption papers, and she has this obsession about having a mission with me. This part scared me a bit because of her tone. It ended up with me blocking her on Instagram because she was trying to say something like, "You have to agree with me and be grateful, because you're adopted, and you're lucky your parents did things for you even being adopted." This hurt me deeply and I was really bad for some days. She talked as if I was a second-class family member. I don't know if it's really because I'm adopted, because she has done this to 3 other cousins who disagreed with her at some point, and they're biologically related to her. Either way, it was messed up. My parents don't know about this. A few months after, there was another disagreement on the family chat, and I wasn't even going to talk until I saw her nieces humiliating our uncle for his finances. And the only reason was he sent a picture they didn't like, and it was really harmless. I didn't answer them, just sent a text saying the obvious. Saying things like these about someone is cruel. Then Lucy sent an audio screaming and minimizing my course. My parents and I are starting to plan my graduation party. My mom wants to make me invite Lucy, and since the situation last week happened, she pressured me more. We were in my grandma's house in the countryside and she appeared because her mom went to visit. I talked to everyone, but I didn't talk with Lucy. Technically I did, I just didn't talk much. Only answered for education, and it was obvious. After it, my parents scolded me. They both said I should forgive everything because she's family. I explained in a calm tone that even though I could forgive her, I don't want to have any type of contact with her. Now they're saying I'm the asshole, and even though my friends and some family members say I finally stood up for myself, and I'm right, I'm starting to think I might be a bit of an asshole. I just really don't want to have contact. Am I the asshole? It sounds like you've made an effort to maintain a polite and civil relationship with Lucy, despite her rude and hurtful remarks towards you. You have every right to protect your emotional well-being and establish boundaries with toxic family members. Your parents should respect your decision and understand that just because someone is family doesn't mean they can treat you poorly without consequences. It's important to prioritize your own mental health and surround yourself with supportive and respectful individuals. Am I the antagonist for telling my bridal client that the venue was double booked? I, 29-year-old female, and my business partner, 34-year-old female, operate a wedding planning and coordination business. We offer 2 main packages. A, we handle all aspects of your wedding planning, or B, you plan your wedding and we provide on-the-day coordination to ensure everything runs smoothly and stress-free for you. Here's what transpired with one of our Package B clients. The wedding ceremony was scheduled to begin at 6 p.m. in a separate area on the same property. The bride was informed that she would be the only wedding in the room she booked for that day. This meant she could go in earlier to take photos while vendors finished setting up. Normally, these photos would be taken during cocktail hour, but the bride didn't want to miss out on that, so we tried to accommodate her request. This should have been possible since she was told she was the only wedding that day. However, yesterday we received an email from the florist stating that they couldn't access the reception room until 5:45 p.m. because there was another wedding happening in the same room, which would end at 5:45 p.m. Normally, we could have adjusted the schedule and notified the vendors to allocate additional staff for a quicker setup. We called the client to inform her of this situation, although we now realize she should have called the venue herself to confirm, but it turns out the information was accurate. She was not aware and became extremely upset. She and her father contacted the venue and expressed their frustration. The venue's event specialist then called my partner and criticized her for informing the client about the double booking. The event specialist claimed that disclosing this information a week before the wedding was poor coordination practice and suggested we should have ignored it. The specialist hung up without allowing my partner to respond. After discussing this phone call with my partner, I decided to contact the event specialist to understand their perspective. However, the specialist treated me the same way, refusing to listen and hanging up on me. At 5:50 p.m., we tried calling the bride, but she didn't answer. So we sent her a text asking her to call us, but she also did not reply. An hour later, we sent another text to the group chat we had with her and her maid of honor, her sister, requesting a call, but neither of them responded. It is now 12 p.m. on the following day, and she still hasn't texted or called us, even though we're supposed to have our final call with her later this evening. So, am I the asshole for informing the bride that she wouldn't be able to take photos in the reception room before her ceremony due to another wedding being booked during the day, which affected the setup timing? You and your business partner were simply informing the bride of a situation that arose due to a miscommunication between the venue and yourselves. It is unfortunate that she was upset, but it was important to notify her in order to make alternate arrangements and ensure everything runs smoothly on her big day. The way the venue event specialist handled the situation was unprofessional and unnecessary. It is their responsibility to communicate changes and updates to you as the wedding planners and to have appropriate arrangements made. Hanging up on you and your partner was disrespectful and unhelpful. You tried reaching out to the bride in various ways, showing your commitment to resolving the issue and making sure she is aware of the situation. It is reasonable for her to be upset, but ignoring your attempts to contact her is not the most mature or productive response. Ultimately, you were doing your job by informing the bride and trying to find a solution. It was unfortunate that the miscommunication occurred, but you handled it in a professional manner. Am I the antagonist for not wanting to bring my roommates any more free wine? I am a 19-year-old female and I work at a banquet hall. While we host various types of events, about 80% of the time they are weddings. This is probably because we offer a comprehensive service package, including linens, bar and food service, and even a DJ. Typically, the bride and groom cover the cost of our open bar service, which includes wine bottles on each table. Usually by the end of the night, we have a few unopened bottles left. If no one else wants them, the management allows employees to take them home. Since I don't drink wine, I mentioned this to my roommates, who are 23 and 21 years old. They got excited and asked if I could bring home a bottle for them. From that point on, whenever I worked a wedding, I would take one of these bottles for my roommates. One of my roommates, E23, especially enjoyed this, and it made me happy to do it since we're friends, and my way of expressing love is through gifts and acts of service. About a week ago, while I was working a wedding, I was on break and texting E because she was having a rough day. School and her boyfriend were causing her stress. During our conversation, she mentioned how excited she was to have wine since she couldn't afford to go to the liquor store. Unfortunately, I didn't pay too much attention to it at the time because the night was hectic, with incidents like a drunk guest knocking over an ice sculpture, it shattering on the floor, and a napkin catching on fire. I got home around 2 a.m. without the wine. The next day, E asked if I had put the wine in the fridge, and it was then that I realized I had completely forgotten. E shrugged it off, laughed, and made a joke about me bringing her 2 bottles next time. At least, I thought it was a joke. However, over the next few days, she kept bringing it up, and it seemed like she wasn't joking anymore. On one occasion, when I came back from a shift serving at a Christmas party, she acted strangely and mentioned that each time I returned from work without a bottle, the number I owed her increased. At this point, I had to clarify that I was only allowed to take 1 bottle, apologized for forgetting, and promised to bring her a bottle the next time I worked a wedding. However, she started suggesting that I could get away with taking a few more bottles if I were sneaky about it. She said I owed her because I knew she was having a tough day and couldn't afford to buy her own wine. She believed it was a waste if I didn't take it. I was taken aback by her tone because it seemed like she was implying that I purposely didn't bring her wine that day, which was not the case. Additionally, I don't want to steal from my job. Now, I feel like an agreement has been made that I didn't sign up for, and I'm not even sure if I want to bring home wine for my roommates anymore. So am I the asshole for not wanting to bring my roommates wine anymore? It's unfortunate that your roommate has developed this entitled attitude towards the wine you bring home from work. You were taking it as a kind gesture and didn't owe her anything in the first place. The fact that she keeps increasing the number of bottles you owe her and even suggests sneaking more from your job is not only entitled, but also unethical. It's perfectly reasonable for you to not want to bring home wine for her anymore, especially considering her behavior. You have every right to set boundaries and not engage in behavior that makes you uncomfortable. I think I'm finally ready to leave my BF. To start off, my boyfriend and I have been together for 10 years, and I don't know if we should continue. So we can both walk away without any shared belongings, except for an Xbox, but I don't care enough about it to not let him take it. We have a place together, but he doesn't know that only my name is on the lease because he didn't want to come with me to view the place or sign the paperwork. He's now making a big deal about it being his name on the lease when it's not because he didn't want to be involved from the beginning. We were staying in his family's rundown trailer for years with no hot water and holes in the floor. We made the best of it, heating bathwater on the stove and using a cast iron to make fire. We helped each other through those tough times, and I'm proud of how far we've come, but I think it's time to let go. I feel like I'm wasting my life away because I don't know if he'll ever marry me. He bought me a promise ring 5 years ago, but only because I pushed for it. Whenever I mention marriage jokingly, he doesn't respond. We recently had an argument about it, and I expressed my disappointment in him not proposing after 10 years. He said, "You can't rush me to marry you," and he's right, but it hurt because I've been taking care of him for years, financially and emotionally. I have cheated on him more than 12 times because he has never been able to make me orgasm. I used to think something was wrong with me, but I learned how to do it myself and realized how amazing it is. I do love him, and he turns me on, but he just can't satisfy me in that way. I want a life with him, but it feels like he doesn't want the same with me. He often talks down to me and insults me for small mistakes, and I don't think that's how someone who loves me should treat me. We have explosive fights over trivial matters, and his anger is uncontrollable. The final straw was our last fight when he got furious because I wanted my 16-year-old sister to move in with me due to our mom's instability. He waited until I was about to leave for work and lashed out, trying to cause an accident, physically attacking me, and even using his gun to hurt me. It became clear that if I don't leave, he will kill me. I'm just done, and I want my space. I want to be alone. I've given him so many years of my life, and I want it back. What should I do? I'm really sorry to hear about what you're going through. It sounds like you've endured a lot in this relationship, and it's important that you prioritize your safety and well-being above everything else. Based on what you've shared, it seems clear that this is an unhealthy and abusive relationship. First and foremost, please seek help immediately. Reach out to a trusted friend or family member, or contact a local domestic violence hotline in your area to get guidance on how to safely leave an abusive relationship. They can provide you with resources and support throughout this process. Leaving an abusive relationship can be difficult, but it's crucial for your safety and future well-being. Consider making a safety plan before confronting your partner about your decision to end the relationship. This can include gathering important documents, having a safe place to stay, and ensuring your personal belongings are secure. Remember, you deserve to be in a loving and respectful relationship. It's not normal or acceptable for someone to physically harm you or speak to you in a demeaning way. You deserve better than this, and there are people who can help you during this difficult time. Seek professional counseling or therapy to assist you in healing and building a better future for yourself. Above all, please prioritize your safety and the safety of your loved ones. Do not hesitate to reach out for help. You are not alone in this. Am I the antagonist for not getting off my horse and walking away when my mom tried to talk to me? My 21-year-old male mom and I have a less than stellar relationship. My parents are divorced, and I lived with her until I was 16. A couple of months before I turned 16, she started dating a guy, and he didn't like me at all. I always had to be elsewhere when he came around. Shortly after my 16th birthday, my mom told me I was going to spend the weekend on my uncle's farm. So I went, and it was pretty fun. She didn't show up the day she was supposed to pick me up, so I called her, and she basically told me I was staying with my uncle permanently. When I told him, he was pissed, rightfully so. We both tried calling her, but she didn't answer. We did everything we could think of to get a hold of her, but we couldn't. The last time I saw her was a week later when she dropped off the rest of my clothes. My uncle is technically not my uncle. He's just a family friend, but he's the closest thing I've had as a parent for the last 5 years. My dad and I aren't close. Apparently, his house was too full for me when my mom left. Honestly, a big part of me is glad this happened. Shortly after I moved in, I got my own horse. She's a Clydesdale named Mary, 6 years old female, and she's my best friend. I've been working on the ranch with my uncle since I graduated, and I'm really liking it. I feel at peace. Anyway, my mom showed up to the ranch today. I had just got on Mary. It was funny. She didn't recognize me at first. She came up to me and asked if I'd dismount. I didn't. She told me the story about how she moved across the country with her ex because she thought she'd be happy with him. Then she told me that things didn't work out, so she found a place. Then she basically demanded I come home. I sarcastically said sure, and I got Mary to start walking. That set her off. She started after me and started ranting about how I needed to live a normal life and that I had to find a girlfriend and not ride horses all day. I stopped and said, as far as you're concerned, this horse is my girlfriend, and that set her off even more. My uncle caught wind of what was happening, and he came over and asked her to leave. She shouted, "I'm not leaving without my son." My uncle told her to leave again and threatened to call the cops if she didn't, and that got her to leave. The reason I'm making this post is because my dad just sent me this long text about how my mom misses me and how she only wants what's best for me. He then went on to say that I should give her a chance instead of threatening to call the cops. He ended the text by saying I was an asshole for not even getting off my horse to speak with her. Am I the asshole for walking away when my mom tried to talk to me? Your mom abandoned you without any warning or explanation, and it seems like she never made any effort to reach out or maintain a relationship with you for the past 5 years. It's completely understandable that you would have mixed emotions about her sudden reappearance. Walking away when your mom tried to talk to you was a perfectly valid response. She didn't deserve your attention or engagement after treating you the way she did. It's clear that she still doesn't truly understand or respect your life choices, which is demonstrated by her rant about living a normal life. Your dad is not in the best position to judge the situation since he wasn't there when you were left with your uncle. It's your decision whether or not you want to give your mom a chance, but it's perfectly understandable if you don't feel ready or willing to reconnect with her based on the history and the recent encounter. Focus on your own well-being and pursue what makes you happy. If your mom genuinely wants to repair the relationship and be a part of your life, she needs to make serious efforts to earn your trust and respect back. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.